And we are live. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Bookish Hour. We are so excited for a very special episode this evening. You can see that we have quite a few people joining us, so it is going to be a good time. I am one of your hosts, Sarah Burr.
And I am the other host, JC Kenny, the dude who gets to hang out with all these amazing, lovely, fabulously talented authors. And so, Sarah, let's get to it. Let's get bookish.
Yes, I definitely cannot wait to dive into our conversation this evening, everybody. We are joined by the wonderful mystery authors from the Murder They Write
Yes.
Facebook group. We are so excited to to have a platform where we can bring everybody together. Our audience members will be able to ask questions throughout the stream. Just make sure that you are logged into your Google account, your YouTube account, whichever account you use your YouTube on. You do need to be logged in order to leave comments or ask questions. And we would love to hear from our wonderful audience members, many who are already chiming in now. We've got Sarah Fritchman saying hello. We've got Farmhouse Reader saying good Thursday evening to all. Mizan says hi, everyone, and says, also, I'm popping in for a few minutes and we'll watch the rest tomorrow. Thank you for being here to welcome us on, Mizan. DHB is saying happy Thursday. Susan Worrell, hello. Great to see you all. So those are some very familiar names from our wonderful audience members. We are so excited this evening as we dive in to talk cozy mysteries galore with our fabulous authors. And we also have Sherry B saying hello to everybody. So without further ado, I would just like to go through and welcome our guest this evening. We're starting off with the wonderful KB Jackson, the award-winning KB Jackson.
Yeah.
Welcome, and would you mind just briefly introducing yourself to our audience members?
Yes, Sarah, thanks. And thanks, JC, for having our group on. So I am Kate Jackson. I write mysteries for both grown-ups and kids under the name KB Jackson. I have two grown-up series. I have the Chattertown Mystery Series, and then I also have the Cruising Sisters Mysteries, in addition to my award-winning middle grade Sasquatch Hunters series about kids looking for Bigfoot.
Every time I see anything related to Bigfoot, you are always first and foremost in my mind. We actually watched a horror movie about these people camping and they were like being attacked by Bigfoots. I was like, oh my gosh, Kate would like, this is her movie.
Exactly. I'm now the Bigfoot lady.
What a fabulous name to have.
Right.
Well, we can't wait to learn more as we continue this evening, but let's talk to one of your other fellow Facebook sisters. Let's dive to Rose Kerr, who is actually a dear friend of our show, has been on to talk about her Mia Reed mysteries. Rose, for folks who may not be familiar with you, could you introduce yourself?
Sure. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks, JC. So my name is Rose Kerr, and I write cozy mysteries. My latest series is the Mia Reed Archaeologist series, and the first book is Death at the Scottish Broch. It takes place on the Isle of Skye in Scotland. I'm not an archaeologist, but I've done extensive research and extensive studies, and I've learned an awful lot about archaeology and what archaeologists do in the field and what they do in different parts of the archaeological world. So it's a lot of fun. I'm enjoying it, and it's been great.
Fabulous. And I have always archaeology is one of my favorite subjects for a movie. Any movie that deals with archaeology, sign me up. Any book that deals with archaeology, love it. A very familiar face to folks who joined us recently this week, Kara Lacey is back with us.
Yeah.
And
It's
Kara,
been so long, Kara.
I know. For folks who may have missed you on our bookish moment earlier this week, can you just introduce yourself and your Camera Club mysteries?
Sure. Hi, I'm Kara. I write as Kara Lacey. And I had so much fun on Tuesday that I could not wait to come back tonight.
That's right.
No, it's true. I write a cozy mystery series that's called the Camera Club Mysteries. The first one came out last fall. The second one will be out sometime this fall. The first one is called Caught on Camera, and it's about a woman who lives in a little village in Vermont, which is basically a fictionalized version of where I currently live, and her band of merry photographers.
That
And
is
I
a
just want to say one of the things. Not only is the book just an absolute blast, you mentioning Vermont, Kara, gives me a chance to mention we literally this is international. We got our friends from north of the border. We got a couple Canadians here. We got
yes.
folks. We've got from all the way from Vermont all the way to the West Coast, and so we've got a great. You're all fabulous anyway, but geographically, this is a fabulous group too. So I just wanted to say that.
That is a very astute point, and definitely we'll talk about how our living areas affect our writing, I think, as we get later into our show.
Yeah.
But let's finish our introductions that we have. The wonderful Jackie Layton is here. Jackie, will you please introduce yourself to our viewers?
Sure. Thanks, Sarah, and thanks, JC. I'm Jackie Layton, and I live in South Carolina, and all my series feature Southern Amateur Sleuth. I have the Low Country Dog Walker series, the Texas Flower Farmer series, and I have a series set in Georgia with a professional organizer called an Organized Crime Cozy Mystery series. So they're all
Ooh,
cozy mysteries with Southern sleuths.
I need a professional organizer in my life,
I've given up on that.
especially if they can solve crimes. Well, we are excited to have you here, Jackie, and to talk more. Let's move to Miss Sydney Leigh, who joined us, gosh, I think January of, was it this year? I can't, time is flying and I can't,
I
it's been,
know. I was trying to think of that, and it feels like it was a while ago, but now that, I'm seeing you guys, it feels like it wasn't that long ago. So I don't know, time flies so quickly. Anyways, I'm super excited to be back again. It's always fun to be here, and it's a great show. My name is Sydney Leigh. I write cozy mysteries as well. I live in a small lakeside town, perfect setting for cozy mysteries, just outside of Toronto. And I have two mystery series that came out in 2024. There's Instagoner, and then there's Peril in Pink. And currently I'm working, well, I have one series on submission to publishers, and we'll see what happens with that. And I'm currently just working on a new book as well. So busy,
ooh,
busy.
yes, I love a good work in progress story. Miss
That
Annie
and you gotta
McEwen.
love. Yeah, and before we get to Annie, who I absolutely adore because she's a fellow Hoosier, yay! Also got to say, Instagoner, it's all your titles are fabulous, and that's one of the great things about hanging out with y'all because things like Instagoner, we don't have her here unfortunately, but Ruth, perfectly framed, your other cohort, Paula. Hammers and Homicide. Your titles are fantastic. You're all fantastic, and Annie, up to you.
Thank you thank you guys for having us. You guys are very brave to accept this. So I'm Annie. I write the Northwoods Mystery Series. It's about I almost said Emmy McEwen. I feel like she's part of our family. But about Emmy Cooper and her family who own a lakeside resort up in northern Wisconsin. On a lake in a cute little town, and of course there's all the quirky characters that come along with that. And the resort that her family owns is based on a resort that I grew up going to when I was a kid, and all through teenage years, and that my family is still friends with the people who own the resort, and my sister lives up there. So it's half based on real life, half of it fiction. And I won't ever tell everything about what's not fiction. So it's a lot of fun because a lot of it is, like I said, Emmy feels like part of the family because a lot of Emmy is me. So, and the people in it, it's a lot of the people that live up there. But yeah, and I've got several more books kind of cooking in the works, more ideas coming. So
Yay.
it's exciting.
Excellent.
Well, And I think that you are very brave for admitting how much your character reflects who you are. I try not to do that because then my family just like hyper analyzes every single thing and tries to like pin everything on me. So I'm like, I'm very much like, my characters are completely made up and I've never met anybody like them. So that's very brave of you, Annie. Miss Christina Romeril, any chance you can introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you again for having me here. I always love being on the show. And I'm Christina Romeril. I write the Killer Chocolate Mystery Series. It has 2 books out with the 3rd coming out in October. And it is about 2 sassy, almost middle-aged twin sister sleuths who live in a little fictional town in Montana near the very real Big Fork, Montana. And they run a book and chocolate shop, which is poison-themed chocolates, which makes it a little unique. And they have had the misfortune of getting embroiled in murders a few times. They are kind of fun, I think, to, because they play off of each other, being that they're sisters. I feel like I can get away with a little bit more sometimes with the humor because they're related. And I am working on the 4th book in the series. I am actively working on the outline right now. And plus I have another book that I'm working on that is not related to that series as well. And I don't think I'm a lot like my sleuths. I have to say that there's probably a little bit of me in there for sure, but I do try to keep it fictional because they do things that I wouldn't do. And I would do things that they wouldn't do. So but there's always a little bit of you in, I think, in every character that you write. I'm hoping to get a new agent when I eventually finish the other book that I'm working on. So
nice.
Something that we didn't talk about was, what unites us all, which I'm sure we'll talk about. But yeah, so I am currently just working on this all on my own.
Well,
nice. We'll keep our fingers crossed for that. And before we get to our final amazing murder she writes person, I do note we have a special guest. Sydney, could you introduce us to your roommate who is kind of hanging out with us? We love animals here on the show.
This guy he likes to be the center of attention. Apologies. This is my little cat Bear. He's currently just trying to knock things over. So this is him saying hello. That's him there and off he goes. So sorry about that.
Oh no, he is very much welcome to join us.
Absolutely. Yes.
And of course, the woman who spearheaded this discussion to get you guys to visit us here, the wonderful Rosalie Spielman. Rosalie, welcome. And any chance you can introduce yourself?
No.
Okay, moving on then.
I had to mute myself because my dog is snoring, so I hope you don't hear him snoring away down there.
Gosh.
But anyway, so I'm Rosalie Spielman. I write the screen's backwards. The Hometown Mysteries, which is on my left in the picture. And then I'm also a contributor to the Aloha Lagoon Mysteries, which is a multi-author series. So I've written 6 of those. And the most recent one will be out the 2nd of November. Wow. And then nice. I am working currently on my 6th hometown book.
Wow, book 6 already. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm a retired officer, so I'm more like my character. I'm going to learn how to point the right way. I'm more like my character from the Hometown Mysteries than my other books.
Well, that is so cool. And I don't want to have the conversation get too far out of the whack here because, folks, we are so fortunate that our guests here are being so kind. They have offered us all kinds of ebooks and a gift card, just a huge swag prize package for you all. And so we're going to do it. There's so much great stuff. We're going to do it in 3 parts. Okay. And so the first part is going to be now. And I am going to give you, it's a magic word kind of thing. I'm going to have Sarah give you the details, but the magic word is, for this one, is murder. Now, Sarah, you want to tell everybody what they do with that?
Yes, this is going to be fun for my inbox. You are going to send an email to giveaways@itsbookishtime.com. And the title of that email, the subject line, put the word murder if you'd like to be included in the giveaway entries for this evening. So again, our email is giveaways, and that's giveaways with an S on it, at itsbookishtime.com. So feel free to send me lots of murder emails. And throughout the evening, we'll have different magic words for you. But Christina had alluded to it. I would love to hear the story. And this is for if you guys want to take turns telling it, or if there's somebody who's like your designated storyteller about how the group Murder They Write came to be as a whole. And what made you guys decide to come together on Facebook and create a community for your readers?
Jackie.
I know. Jackie.
So Rose and I started talking about we have been so close as a group. We all had the same agent who died a couple of years ago, just suddenly. And I think that bonded us between the pandemic and seeing each other at Malice and then Dawn's death. We just, I think, all grew close together. And marketing is always, kind of, you're trying to figure out how to market, how to reach readers, how to make connections. And Rosalie and I, we decided let's try doing a Facebook group, and we thought 10 was a good number. And so that's how the 10 of us came together. So that's helped us stay even more connected. And I think it's helped us reach readers and form friendships with our readers. Some we connected with the first year, and then we saw at Malice this year. So I think it's been a fun thing for us. Do you want to add anything else?
I always refer to Jackie because she emailed a couple people and said, has anybody been in a group blog? And I said, yeah, actually I have. And she's like, okay, you're it. You do the work. No, I'm just kidding. She does plenty of the work too. That each one of us pretty much has a different thing that they help out with. Like a couple of them helped with the Christmas party that we did last year. Rose does the new releases. Paula, who isn't here with us tonight, she does the guest hosts. So everybody's pitching in. It's definitely a group effort to do it. And of course, we all have our own days that we post twice a month. And then Tuesdays are for guest hosts and new release parties. And then Friday, I just usually do a question that we all do input for the question and try to get some interaction as a group.
I always hold it in a very high honor on my list of accomplishments that I was your first author guest to the group. I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you guys asked me.
Well, Sarah, so you are kind of a big deal. So, I mean.
Oh yes, that is true. And actually, we have a question from one of our audience members at the moment. We do have Mizan saying hello to Bear before she pops out. But Sherry B would like to know, and this is for Rosalie, but for anybody else that has this similar experience, feel free to chime in as well. Rosalie, can you speak to how the multi-author series came about, and any advice to those who may want to start something similar? Ooh, that is interesting.
Okay, so I was signed with Dawn. We were shopping my book series that is on this side. we were shopping those, and she put on the Facebook group that we had as a agency that Gemma Halliday was looking for writers for the multi-author series. And I knew that it was going to be a long time, while it was going through editing and then being shopped. So I thought, why not? Let me throw my hat in the ring. And I, wrote some proposals for Gemma. She liked them and she hired me. So it's kind of a hire for write. There's 12 different authors, I think, maybe 13 at this point. And 26, my book will be number 26. And
Wow.
we share the resort and we share the policeman. Other than that, each author has their own characters. And I actually have two sets of characters. My first 4 are Kiki Hepburn, and then the last 2 are her roommate from college, Nellie O'Hare. And I'm the first author that has done more than one set of characters for these books. Gemma Halliday has done more than one of these multi-author series, and she does take unagented submissions if anybody is interested in throwing their hat in the ring for something like that, or to pitch their own book to her.
Nice.
That's so cool. Yeah, a friend of the show and a friend of everybody here, Nicole Laren, is also involved with the Smuggler's Cove venture that's very similar through Gemma Halliday. So yeah, so that's really cool. A quick shout out here, one real quick, is our lovely host Sarah is probably too humble to say this, so I'm going to say it, that Susan is saying Sarah is the coolest. So, and I think we all agree. So, I wasn't going to let that one slip by.
Thanks, Susan.
So one of the things I'd like to know from any of you is you talked about you knew each other obviously through our lovely dearly departed agent Dawn, and you got the idea to do this group together. Can someone tell us, or a couple of you tell us, what it was like kind of going from the idea to actually getting that page up and going? Because I'm a great idea man. I love to come up with ideas, but then it's like, okay, whatever, I'm not going to do it. Y'all did it, so that's kudos to you. Could you talk about a little bit of that process? Because I'm sure it wasn't just a simple walk in the park, click a button, and then you're done. And Rose, you're laughing, so I kind of
Yeah, because I'm remembering how difficult it was for me to join the group. Poor Rosalie, I kept going to her and going, it's not working. It's not letting me in. It's not letting me in. And because we trying to get logged in so that I could see what was happening and how everything was going to work out. It for some reason, Facebook wouldn't allow me to join the group the way I was supposed to. So I think it was 4 days of trying before I actually got in, and God bless her, she didn't quit on me. So Rosalie just kept
even
me going.
more. It's complicated because we have, the group with our writer names, and then we have our just a group just for us.
The chat, yeah.
A lot of the chat that we have, the private group chat, is with other names. So it took a while to figure out, do we have to be friends with all of our names? Like, how does this work? But it eventually got worked out. I did accidentally, I don't know how it happened, but posted that we were up and running, and I didn't mean for it. It was supposed to schedule it be, and so all of a sudden it's like, oh crap, it says we're going now and we're not ready yet. So that was a small hiccup there at the beginning.
Which is why we forgot our anniversary this year.
Yes.
We were like,
our
oh, today's
anniversary
not
was-
the day, it's this other day. And then we forgot when that day actually happened.
Yeah, so we've been at this for over a year and a month, roughly. Yeah.
That's
Nice.
so cool. Yeah, because I feel like the guest takeover I did was in August, and I was just like, I'm ready. And I can attest, like the navigating through Facebook groups and figuring out like the admin challenges is super, super tricky, especially when you are having like communications with people's real names versus their pen names. And I can imagine that was pretty tricky. And so kind of going back to your, and this will be, we'll kind of go through everybody at this point, so we can hear a little bit about your writing journey. But I'm always very curious, like, how did you, first, I guess, discover cozy mystery, like the cozy mystery genre, traditional mystery genre, amateur sleuths, solving crimes? How did you first discover it, and what made you decide that this was going to be where you wrote your book? What about the genre called to you? What was it that made you feel that this is a writing project that I can achieve? And so, Kate, let's start with you.
All right. So I didn't know the term cozy mystery. I just knew that I was drawn to certain types of mysteries. I am from the Seattle area, and we had a woman named Mary Daheim who wrote 2 different series. She wrote a bed and breakfast series with 2 older sisters. And then she also wrote a series called the Alpine series. And I think she got through, I don't think she got all the way through the alphabet, but it was like the Alpine Advocate was the first one, and then it went alphabetical from there. And my mom introduced me to those when I was in junior high school. So I fell in love with the genre without knowing what it was called. So when I wrote my book, and was trying to understand everything all at once about how to get to the next step, I ended up at a conference called New York Pitch, which is now called Write to Pitch, that takes place in New York City. And I was in a group of female authors of all different genres. And our leader was Susan Breen, who's a cozy mystery author. And I was saying, I don't even know how to pitch this book because it's got these historical elements and it's got all of these different things. And she said, I think it sounds like a cozy. And I said, I don't even. Now, I consider my Chattertown series cozy-ish because there are some elements of it that I think don't completely fit in the cozy genre. And then when I went to write my Cruising Sisters, I did write it specifically toward the cozy mystery genre, only to have my publisher want to tweak that just a little bit and make it cozy-ish with a hint of women's fiction. So that was how I ended up there. I knew I loved the genre. I just didn't know what to call it.
Nice. I love hearing what your like gateway into cozies is, because I have not heard of the Alpine Advocate before. That is very cool.
They're fantastic books. I wanted to be her main character when she grew up. She owned a newspaper in this small town that was actually a real true town in the Cascade Mountains that died out due to, a new highway and logging going out of, business in the area. And so she revitalized the real town into a fictional town as if it had never died out. And then this young woman drove a old green Jaguar, and her name was Emma, and she just seemed really cool. And so I love those books.
I am
That
still
is
waiting.
so cool.
I'm waiting for the day when I can get my blue convertible like Nancy Drew had. Like, there's something about the cars that all of our like favorite sleuths drive, and it's like I need that in my life.
Sarah,
Yes.
if I can just interrupt.
Oh, yes,
It's
yes.
giveaway time again. It is 1/2 now, so it's time for another giveaway, which means it's another magic word. And hopefully after this one, you folks are going to kind of catch on to a little theme here we came up with. So to be entered into round 2 of the giveaway, your magic word is they. The first one was murder. The second one was they. So for this one, and there might be a third one, not going to tell you what it is, so don't jump the gun. So anyway.
Yeah, we could throw you a curveball. And I just put the email that you guys will be sending those emails to in the chat, so you can see giveaways at itsbookishtime.com. And I spelt it right, even though I wasn't really looking at my keyboard. So that's impressive.
Christina, how about you? How about your story?
honestly, my mother randomly bought, she was always looking at sale stuff and randomly bought a cozy kids mystery, the Trixie Belden series. She bought one of those books, brought it home. I was in third grade and I read it and loved it. And so she started buying me those books. And then, of course, that was the gateway into Nancy Drew. And we did actually have a blue convertible growing up. Yeah, that was cool. Anyway, but yeah, so Trixie Belden was really my entrance into the cozy world. And then, Nancy Drew, and Hardy Boys. And then I kind of started reading a more diverse and eclectic combination of things. I remember there was like a Phyllis A. Whitney. I don't even know what that genre that is. Gothic, romance, mystery. I don't know. I kind of did a lot of that. And then in my 20s, I had done some Agatha Christie all throughout my teens. And in my 20s, I started rereading Agatha Christie's. And so throughout my life, I've just always read cozies, but it was only a few years before I started writing that I really started understanding what the genre is and started, the more modern cozies reading. And don't ask me I have no idea who the first one was that I read. But I just started picking some up because they had the cute covers and I just started reading it. And then when I decided to write my first, like to really sit down and start writing the book, I just thought cozy mystery just spoke to me, the Agatha Christie-esque style. And of course, at that point I had, was fully immersed and, reading voraciously in the cozy genre. So.
Fabulous. I have to ask, the Phyllis A. Whitney, is that similar to like the V.C. Andrews type books at all?
Phyllis A. Whitney, it was like they're all set, I'm thinking like in the 1800s.
Oh,
and
gotcha. Okay.
A lot of dark castles and women, a lot of things set at night and wind and nightgowns and I don't know, creepy things. So she's still around. I don't know. I'm sure she's not still around, but I mean, her books are still around. I do see them. But
I hope someday somebody summarizes my books as wind and nightgowns. I love it. I love it. Rosalie, tell us, what was your gateway into cozies and what made you decide that you wanted to write one?
Sorry, snoring dog. My gateway, I think that I was reading Agatha Christie like in high school. But I think the first mysteries I was reading was Encyclopedia Brown. And I always loved him. And then Agatha Christie. The first things I wrote were not mysteries because I didn't think that I had the little gray matter or whatever to make a mystery. But one day I looked at my bookshelf and I thought, I need to be writing those. I need to be writing what I read. And it's a good fit for me because I don't want to write the blood and the sex and the gore, and I don't want to write that stuff. It's kind of hard for me not to. The no cursing part is kind of hard for me because I just can't imagine stumbling over a body and going, "Oh gosh, darn it, there's a body," But other than that, it's the perfect fit for me. And to write with humor is definitely, I think, something with all of us here. We're all very funny. If I say so myself.
Well, we'll say it too. Y'all are. You're fantastic authors. And that's one of the things that is so important, I think, in literature. And especially, let's be honest, murder is kind of a heavy topic. And so having that talent to be able to add in humor and have it work is really, it's a skill. And you all, if I was wearing a hat, I'd tip my hat to you because, to be able to do that, that's not easy. Believe me, I know how I'm good at not doing that. So, but enough about me. Okay, next in the hot seat, my Central Indiana buddy, Annie McEwen. Where did you get your start in the murder macabre?
Encyclopedia Brown, Nancy Drew. I remember my cousin Chrissy had all the Nancy Drew books, And I was so jealous. I would, every time I go to her house, I'm like, can I borrow that one? Can I borrow that one? She's like, as long as you bring it back. Okay, fine. What would you notice, you know? But I just read all of them, just all of them. And of course, then, you know, I find other little mysteries as, you know, as I was growing up. But to find an actual, like, what we consider a cozy mystery with the amateur sleuth having, you know, what we call the cozy job now. You know, I was at the library one day, my little local library, and I'm a mom with 2 small kids. And I found a book by, I think, Ellen Elizabeth, what was her name? Ellen Elizabeth something, I can't remember, but I remember that it was like the Magnolia Mysteries, and the lady restored homes in Wilmington, North Carolina, which I love Wilmington, North Carolina, all the beautiful homes. And I was doing interior decorating on the side. You know, I was staying home with my kids, and I devoured these books. And there were several in the series, and then I read all of them, and I couldn't wait for the next one. So then I found another series that my library had, and it was Jenny Bentley's interior decorating series. And like, there was humor, you know, there was this amateur sleuth that was decorating and restoring these old homes, but she's finding this dead body. And it was just a cute romance. And I'm like, these are my people. You know, and then I'm like, oh, there's ones where they have a bookshop, or there's ones that they have, you know, they're cooking, and then, you know, I always wanted to write, but I was always, you know, starting out with like, inspirational historical fiction or things like that. And then when I finally decided, no, I'm going to write, my husband was like, mysteries, all you read is cozy mysteries. Your shelves are filled with them. Why aren't you writing that? And I'm like, Rosalie, duh, that's what I love, you know? So he's like, you're always coming up. He's like, every time we go on a trip and we're sitting in an airport, you're looking at people going, I bet I know what they're running from. Let's think of a little thing of what's going on here. He's like, you're always saying this would be a great place to hide a body. So yeah, that's kind of how it all started.
Those are the signs, those are the traits of a true mystery writer.
Yeah.
Thinking about where it's like, oh, this would be a great place to kill somebody, or this would be a great place to hide a body. Fictionally,
Exactly.
of course.
Yes, metaphorically.
You could really kill somebody with that, and nobody would think a thing of it. That, or I should see a therapist.
Yes, but you know, writing is its own type of therapy. So I think you're good. Sydney, what was your gateway into cozy mysteries, and what made you decide that you wanted to write one?
I remember I was a huge Murder, She Wrote fan when I was a kid. So that was like Jessica Fletcher was like my superhero, you know. Some people wanted to be Batman or Superman, and I wanted to be JB Fletcher. So it was, it was destiny for me. But I remember I also wasn't familiar with the term, cozy mystery. And I was on vacation with a group of friends, including my sister, and I just came up to her. She was reading a book, and I saw that there's like an outline of a cat, and I was like, what the heck is she reading? And I kind of, tease, sister. I'm like, what is this? And she's like, oh my God, she's like, it's a cozy mystery. And I'm like, what is that? And I still remember the book. It was Rita Mae Brown, Sneaky Pie Brown, and it was Whisker of Evil. And I thought, mind blown. Like I was instantly like delighted. And that just it like I remember that moment was like a lightning moment, like, oh my God. And I was instantly fell in love with the genre, and just ate up everything. And I've loved it ever since.
Awesome.
Well, I tell you what, one of the things that is so much fun hearing your stories is partially having the visual as different authors are being mentioned, seeing you all smile and nod your heads, and all these authors are different, and it just shows what a rich genre we're fortunate enough to be part of. And again, I think I'm going to speak for Sarah here. I shouldn't, but I'm going to. We are so fortunate to have you all here, and we thank you for taking the time. And you all are so brilliant. And thank you for choosing to write instead of going to therapy. So there we go.
And to what JC mentioned about like you guys, smiling as you recognize other people's inspirations. We've got folks in our chat also feeling those same things. Susan saying loved Encyclopedia Round 2. Those were her first mysteries from elementary school. And we have DHB saying Cabot Cove, a great place not to live. As picturesque as it looked. And is it really true that they're doing a reboot with Jamie Lee Curtis?
Jamie Lee Curtis, yeah.
That is gonna be super fun.
Yes.
That'll be really exciting to have like a new, like fresh take of people like getting exposure to cozy mysteries. Because I think Murder, She Wrote was such a big influence on what was it, the 80s and the 90s? I don't know.
Yeah.
So to like have that kind of reawakening and having more audiences like discover it for the first time, super, super exciting.
And the Thursday Murder Club, I don't know if anybody's seen that on Netflix or read the books. They're phenomenal, but it just came out on Netflix and they did an amazing job.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah. That's on my to watch list. I've been waiting. My wife's been super busy working on a quilt for our younger kiddo's wedding. Don't tell them about it because it's a surprise. And so, she said, hey, I finally got the quilt done. We can finally watch Thursday Murder Clubs.
Oh yeah. It will not disappoint. It's so good.
Oh, fabulous. That's good. That's good to know. Miss Jackie Layton, what was your gateway into cozies and why did you decide to start writing them?
Well, I first was thinking romantic suspense because I always read suspense and mysteries and thrillers and it seemed like when I went to a couple of writing conferences that people were looking for suspense. And then right before I met Dawn, I had a publisher say, have you thought about writing a mystery? She took time. We had this long conversation. She's like, have you thought about writing a mystery? And I said, it was like everything just started clicking. And I thought, that's my favorite. And, I'd been trying to do the suspense because I thought that's what would get me a contract. And so that started my changeover to writing the cozy mystery. And then I pitched to Dawn and she's like, yeah, you need to be writing cozy mystery, but change it to first person point of view. I was like, okay. And that was just those two ladies are what got me into cozies.
That's amazing.
Nice. Yeah. Kara, you got a story you wanna give us the little dish on?
Sure. Well, I did not grow up reading mysteries at all. In fact, I thought that mysteries would be like really way too scary for me. I'm a huge wimp. But my mom is really big into cozy mysteries and mysteries in general. And I remember growing up, she always had books around the house with these like dead bodies on the cover. And I wanted nothing to do with them. And, like she would ask me what I'm reading and I would tell her I was usually reading some sort of current fiction. And she'd go, oh, I really just like my cozies. And so finally, one day I was an adult and I was probably in my 30s. And I was like, well, what is this all about anyway? And I called her up and I was like, tell me some authors to read. So she did. And I got hooked after that with the whole mystery thing. I'd always wanted to write a book, but yeah, the cozy mystery, once I got started reading them, that was the way I went. My mom was right all along, so.
Mother knows best.
I know, right?
And
well,
then,
hey, before we get to our final dishing story, guess what? It's magic word time. It's prize number 3. And yeah, I know the time has just flown by and it's not fair because Sarah and I would love to spend another, 2-3 hours with y'all because you're fabulous. And this time has just been so precious. So I'm going to stop talking and say the magic word. And folks, if you haven't gotten the sense of where we're going, I'm going to give it to you for this one is magic word is right. And not as in R-I-G-H-T, it's right as in murder they write. Go figure.
It all comes together.
There's a theme going here, folks. So yeah, so throw that into the send Sarah the email with right, and you'll be entered into the third prize. And I think now, Rosalie, where'd you get your start?
Where did I get my start?
Yes,
I've
what
already
brought you
gone.
into our cozy mystery genre?
I've already gone, haven't I?
We
Oh, you
need
have?
we need Rose. We need Rose.
Oh, Rose, my bad. My bad.
It's okay. We both go by Rose. It's okay.
We both go by Rose. It gets confusing at times. Like Christina, I started with Trixie Belden and then Nancy Drew and the Hardy Boys, and then I moved on to Agatha Christie. And the book that really made me realize the power of words was Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None. I was reading the book. I was at home alone. My mom and brothers had gone to my grandmother's, and I was at the end of the book where all is going to be revealed, and it was a really scary part. And all of a sudden, I heard the front door bang open and somebody screaming as they run through the house. And I just jumped up and like, oh my God, what's going on? And it was my brothers. And they were home from my grandmother's house, and they were screaming at each other. And I screamed at them, like, you scared me, and da 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 da. And my mom said, like, what are you doing? Like, and I said, well, I was into my book. And they interrupted me, and I was about to find out who did it. And that's when I realized that I had been so absorbed in the book that nothing else around me mattered. And I thought, I want to be able to do that one day. It took a long time, but I finally started writing. So yeah. And then I read all through Agatha Christie, and almost exclusively Agatha Christie, and then got into some other authors. I remember the librarian at our small town in Marathon, Ontario. I was going through the library and just getting books, and she said, you might want to try these books. And they were by Carolyn Hart, and they were Death on Demand. And she said, they're called cozies. And I kind of went, what's that? And she said, well, it's murder mysteries, but they're not violent. And I said, okay, I'll try it. And I was hooked. So yeah, so a librarian got me into cozies. So they were great.
Love our librarians so dearly.
Yes.
And with Agatha Christie, her birthday was this week, and also coincides with National Cozy Mystery Day, which is very, very fun. And it's exciting to see cozy celebrated in such a way. I love the idea of these stories, pulling us in so much that we have these visceral reactions to them. And I know that our time is running short, so I would love to do a kind of a quick rapid fire round, asking you all, what is the best piece of writing advice that you have received or given to, or that you think that somebody should know out there? We have a lot of writers that watch our show, and we have a lot of people who are aspiring to be published and all of that good stuff. If you have a piece of wisdom to impart on them, we'd love to hear it, and lessons learned that you've had throughout your writing career so far. Kate, would you like to start us off again?
Not particularly.
It's a hard one. It's a hard one, but
it is a hard one. I would definitely say that my favorite piece of advice was actually given to me by someone who is not a writer, and that is my husband, because we were talking about this journey in general. And I said, it just felt like something changed. And he said, something changes when you typed the end, because you went from being somebody writing a book to somebody who has written a book. And once you finish the book, because I had spent my entire life starting stories and being afraid to finish them, once I actually finished a story, and it needed work, but once I finished it, I had become someone who had written a book, and that fundamentally changed who I was. And so my advice to anyone now is finish the book. You can always go back and fix it. Finish the book. It changes you just as how you view yourself.
Wow, that is incredible advice. So very well done. And kudos to your husband too. That's like really, really deep. really deep.
Yeah.
Rose, what would your and this is Rose Kerr. What would your advice be?
Don't quit. If you want to write a book, write a book. Don't quit. It's not easy. It's hard, and some days you want to just throw your hands up in the air and walk away from it, but you can't because you have a story that you need to tell. So don't quit, and it's never too late to start. It doesn't matter.
That's a good
Your
point.
age doesn't matter when you're writing, none of that. So just don't quit.
That's very the part of, it's never too late, it's never too early. It's just like if the story is there, like go after it. Very, very well said. Kara, what advice have you received or that you would give to someone that would benefit in their writing journey?
I guess my biggest one is to just get the words on the page and don't worry about whether it's good or not as you're doing it. If you've got a story in there, just get it down on the page. And I mean, I am the revising queen. I do millions of final revisions. But yeah, you can't do that until you get it on the page.
Good. Yes, that you got to get the words out. Jackie.
So everybody's had good advice, and I'm kind of tagging on is don't give up. That in the beginning you're going to have people that don't understand why you're doing it. There's going to be a lot of negativity when you first start. Rejections from agents, then you get agent rejections from publishers, and I just say don't quit. If this is what you want to do, just keep going after it. If the first one doesn't sell, just keep writing and it'll happen, but don't quit.
Hear, hear. Absolutely. Sydney, what do you got for us?
I would just say, there's just write the way you want. There's no right or wrong way to do it. Just for every writer, I think there's a different way to plot or not plot or do this or that. So do whatever feels right to you, whatever's gonna produce those words. So yeah.
That's something that we come up against in this platform, hearing about everybody's writing journeys and what their process is, and the way that some people think. I'm like, I would never have thought to do that, and yet, everybody's producing books and writing books, and yeah, there is no one right way to do it.
Yes, absolutely,
and that's very good advice. Rosalie,
yes.
What about you? What advice do you have for our group?
I agree with Sydney. That was one of the things that it took me a while to figure out. And when somebody said it to me, it was like, it gave me grace that it's okay that my process does not look like my friends. This person plots. I'm not so good at that, but that's okay. And the way you do it is fine, But it also, going back to what somebody else said, but it's a business, and you have to keep that in mind when you're starting out, that you can write for fun, you can write for yourself, but if you want to actually get published, that you need to get a thick skin, because it is a business, and agents and editors they're not hating you, they're not even hating your story, they're just not seeing that they can sell it, and you have to look at it that way in order to survive.
So true. Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. Christine?
Something that I've learned from various sources, but deconstruct the books that you want to write. So find a good example of a book that in a genre that you want to write, deconstruct them, tear them apart, and write in the margins, highlight, and see how it's done by someone who does it well.
Ooh, that is very, very good.
Yeah.
Love it. Miss Annie,
Yeah.
what is your advice to aspiring folks that are trying to put that story onto paper?
Find community. Get like this. You need to find other writers get on social media, join Sisters in Crime, get with local writing groups. I was fortunate when I took Ellie Alexander's master class, and I found who turned out to be now one of my best friends ever in Paula Charles. We immediately hit it off, and now she's like my sister. And then we became, in the same agency. And it's just insane because we formed a little, kind of critique thing together, and we called it, we want to be like little accountability group to just be like, okay, we're writing these books, we're going to do it, we're doing this class. And now you guys all know Paula and I we always say we share a brain because it's scary what we think. And sometimes I think we do share a brain because we only use half of each of ours. And now look, I have these wonderful ladies that I depend on, and I ask for advice, and I don't want to get emotional because I will cry, especially when I look at their faces. I have shared tears with some of these people, and don't make me cry, Rosalie. I'm hugging Kate at Malice when she won her award. I was literally sobbing as she won her award, and I'm like, I dearly love these people, and I've shared conversations with some of them that it's like I've come to depend on them, and I truly treasure their advice. And same thing, I've talked to JC and Sarah at different times, and it's like we are all in different places in our writing journeys. And I've come to different, some people have asked me for things, like trusting me. I'm not, I'm just now getting my 4th book out, but yet, like you guys had Adrian Andover on the other day, and he's like, I couldn't have done some of what I've done without your advice. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, that's how I feel about some of the people here on the screen, but you've got to find your community. You've got to have somebody you can go to and be like, hey, can you read this for me? Because I think it's total crap. Tell me what I need to fix about it. And then somebody you can just be like, I'm losing my mind right now. Can we just talk about this? Give me feedback. But find your people. You just find your local chapter of whatever and find your people. And I'm so glad I did.
Yeah, community is so important. I know that writing is a rather solitary activity, but that solitude can also be detrimental to you and your story. And so that community is essential to not only, as Kate had said earlier, getting to the end and having, who you were before you wrote a book and who you are now that you've written a book. Find other people who have experienced that change. It's so, so important. And I'm very, very glad that you brought that up, Annie. Thank you. I can't believe how quickly everything went this evening. We hardly got any of our questions in, but I feel like we have... it's just been so wonderful to hear about what brings you joy in the cozy mystery genre, what makes you all like such a wonderful group. We can definitely feel the love that Murder They Write has for each other, but also for your readers. You're very generous to your readers, and it's a wonderful community. If you are looking for a community, you can start with these wonderful ladies by joining their Facebook group and participating in the fabulous discussions that they have. Rosalie, did you want to say something?
Yes, I wanted to add that to make sure everybody knows that we are missing 2 people here tonight, and we miss them very much. Ruth Hartman is not with us tonight, and neither is Paula Charles. I think Ruth is on a cruise or something amazing like that, and Paula's moving. So we miss them, and we didn't want to forget about them.
Yeah, you can't forget about those 2 ladies. They're fabulous in their own right. And we are at the top of our hour together. I would really love if you guys don't mind hanging around for just a couple more minutes while we do just a quick kind of rapid fire, give us a book recommendation, TV recommendation, movie, any type of entertainment that you want to share with our viewers tonight that you think is worth their while. I'm going to go backwards from our list order. So Rosalie, you're up first. What would be your recommendation that folks check out?
I've been watching a lot of the Halloween baking, getting in the Halloweeny mood. So the Halloween baking, and then next it's murder, Only Murders. I need to stream that, the rest of that.
I need to catch up on so many seasons of that show. Christina, what's your recommendation?
I just finished binging Michael Connelly's Lincoln Lawyer on Netflix.
Ooh.
I did all 3 seasons in about a week and a half. I just could not stop watching.
I love a show that lets you do that. Annie, what is your recommendation?
I not reading Bright this minute because I'm just starting book 5. So I just saw that the Great British Baking Show is back on. So
Yes.
I'm so excited to start that instead to be my reviews.
You're centering. Oh yes,
Yeah.
such fabulous, such fabulous viewing. Sydney, what's your recommendation?
Well, it's I think I mentioned it already, the Thursday Murder Club. It's on Netflix. It is just fabulous. It's a book, obviously, first, but if you just want to sit back and you're in the mood for a really fun show or movie, sorry, then I highly, highly recommend it.
That's definitely going on my watch list. Jackie, what's your recommendation?
So I just got this book this week. It's an advanced copy by Heather Whitener, Murder Plays Second Fiddle. I'm already soaking it in. So I'm excited about her newest book. So that's what I'm reading right now.
Fabulous.
That's great.
A sneak peek. I love
Yeah.
it. Kara, you're up.
Well, I'm going to ditto Sydney on the Thursday Murder Club. I just watched it last night and it was fabulous.
Sweet.
And also Good Ship Murder, which reminds me
Mhm.
our own KB Jackson's series too.
Yeah.
That's a favorite of our show. We've definitely gushed about that several times. Rose Kerr, what would you recommend to our audience members?
I've been watching The Residents. It's a limited series on
yep,
Netflix.
yep.
It's quite good. I really liked it. The smartest detective in the world happens to be a woman, so
Yes.
it's wonderful. Yes. Yeah.
Fabulous. Kate, what would be your recommendation?
Because I am in revisions, I am only really currently listening to audiobooks when I drive. And right now it is The Pastor's Wife by Lindy Walker, who a lot of you guys know. She comes a lot to Malice. It is clean, not cozy, more domestic suspense, but very patiently written. Like you just feel the tension, but it's very patient.
Ooh, I like a slow burn.
Mhm.
Excellent. JC, anything new in the 2 days since we last spoke?
Nothing specific, but what I am going to say is I'm just going to remind all of our viewers to support the fabulous authors who have joined us tonight. All 10 of the Murder They Write authors are fantastic in their own right. If you haven't read them, you need to get on it, and so that's my recommendation.
Yes. Your like to be read list would be probably set for a year because you guys are so prolific. You've got so many fabulous series that you get to share with us all. We're so lucky that we were able to carve out time tonight to be able to chat with a majority of you. So we really, really thank you for being here. My recommendation is a bit too dark, I think, to end on. So I'm just excited that Signs of a Psychopath is back on to watch. That's my favorite show to unwind to. But again, thank you, ladies, for being here. This was absolutely fabulous. Yes. Thank you so much for sharing your time. Our wonderful audience members. We have Susan saying this was great. Thank you so much. Lori says, I agree. Really enjoyed hearing from you all. Trish says, love this. We appreciate our audience members being here. Thank you guys so much. I did miss a question, I think, from Sherry about did anybody remember Ellery Queen Minute Mysteries? Is that all right? We got Jim.
Yep.
represented. All right. So we do have some folks that know that one, Sherry. Everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with us this evening. It was delightful to be here with you all. We do have a couple shows coming up next week. We have 2 Bookish moments happening on Tuesday, September 23rd at 4:30 p.m. We're being joined by Lou Kemp. Lou writes mysteries, horror stories, magical, like all different types of genres. So that'll be a fun conversation. And then on Thursday, September 25th, we're joined by Elizabeth Mitchell, who also does multi-genre writing and is also an advocate for people with invisible and visible disabilities. And so it's always wonderful catching up with Elizabeth and the work that she's doing in that community. So we hope that you'll join us again. If you would like to receive episode updates, please subscribe to our newsletter through Substack. We have a free service that will send you email reminders of when we have a new show on. We do have a paid membership as well if you'd like behind the scenes extras, ad-free viewing on Substack, and priority guest booking if you are a writer. And again, thank you all for being here. This was absolutely fabulous. And we hope that you'll come join us when you're celebrating your 2nd year anniversary together after you've posted about it and remembered that it's happened. All right, everybody. Thanks so much. It was our pleasure. Have a great evening, everybody. Stay bookish. Bye-bye.
Bye.